Sometimes all it takes is one idea to turn everything around. And I feel very confident with some of the exercises we're going to do tonight, you're going to get more than one idea that's going to help you either get back on track or turbocharge where you're going with your life. I want to share with you personally some of the things that helps me set and achieve my goals, along with some of the mistakes I see people make when it comes to goal setting. But before I do, I want to do a quick little exercise. If you'll notice on your table, and I know some of my type A people wanted to open the envelope, but you'll find something that says do not open. Please grab that envelope. Okay, you got it? Everybody in there has a different type of piece of paper. However, I want you to find the same letter. You're all looking for F. Go ahead and open it since I already hear you opening it. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to count the F's inside. Go. Ten seconds, guys. It's just a very short passage. Okay? 2, 1. Go ahead and put it down, please. Show of hands. How many people found more than 3 F's? 4 or more. How many people found more than 5? How many people found more than 6 F's on their sheet of paper? Hands up as high as you can get them. More than 6, more than 7? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, who had more than 6? Hands up high. I think 3 people out of all the folks here. There's 6 F's on that piece of paper in front of you. Go ahead and look at it. Our subconscious mind does not register the word of. And this is one of the most important factors. And you thought David Copperfield was good. This is very important. This is very, very, very important. The things that could be in your life right now, the circumstances, the resources, the people, the opportunities could be right in front of you, and you don't see it. There's something that many of us probably know well about called the law of attraction. It was made famous by a book, The Secret, later becoming a movie. And what the law of attraction pretty much is like attracts like. We think about what we want, and these magical voodoo things happen. That's actually not the case. The law of attraction is much simpler than you would ever imagine. But because our brains are hardwired not to take in all the information we find, we have sensories that blocks the majority of it out. Just like your mind did when you looked at that piece of paper and you couldn't find the F's. And so the law of attraction, when you think about what do I want in life? What do I want? What am I trying to achieve? Where am I trying to go? What is it going to take to get me to live the life of my dreams? You've got to be specific, and you have to find it, you have to measure it, you have to be able to get the results. Keyword, results. You hear the well-worn passage about people go by a car and they see that car everywhere on the road. That's because their mind is now open to see that car. I have a client in Houston, new father. He says, everywhere I go, Jeremy, I see baby strollers. The mall, the park. Nothing changed. Those baby strollers were there all along. Now he sees them. And that's why one of the most important things that you can do on goal setting is figure out exactly what you want. And there's not a person on the planet that can do that for you. Not your friend, not your spouse, not your parents, not a mentor, not even a coach. You have to figure out what you want yourself. And once you figure out what you want, you have to write it down. It's a bit difficult to explain all the science behind committing your goals to paper, but it's very important to put pen to paper, and you're going to have an opportunity to do that in a workshop we're going to do here in a few minutes. Brian Tracy says, unless your goals are in writing, they're nothing more than wishes and fantasies. And Moses in the Ten Commandments says, let it be written, let it be done. They wrote this stuff down. Probably the foremost expert on goal setting is Jim Rohn. I learned much of what I'm going to teach you over the next few minutes from Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, some of the legends of this business. And I want to share a quick 80s video of Jim Rohn talking to his mentor, Bill Shelf, about goal setting.
Mr. Shelf taught me how to set goals. What a favor that was. One morning at breakfast shortly after I met him, he said, Jim, let me see your current list of goals, and let's go over them and talk about them. He said, maybe that's the best way I can help you get a better direction started. And I said, I don't have a list. He said, well, is it out in the car or home somewhere? I said, no, sir. I don't have a list anywhere. He said, well, young man, that's where we got to start. He said, I can tell you right now, if you don't have a list of your goals with you, he said, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s. Which he did. And that got my attention. I said, you mean my bank balance would change if I had a list of goals? He said, drastically. That day, I became a willing student how to set goals.
There's nothing else more important you can do with your life than get your goals down on a piece of paper in front of you. Where people go wrong, though, one of the mistakes I see in goal setting is they get them written down, and now they want to get busy starting and going out and achieving what it is that they're after. A lot of business coaches call it the art of the start. Get going, shift, and pivot moving forward. And I agree with some of that, but not all of it. I love the quote by Steve Jobs that says, details matter. It's worth waiting to get it right. And the details, to me, are in the plans. You've got to plan your life out, because all too often people are out there working their tails off and they're not getting anywhere. It's akin to running on a treadmill. You're wearing yourself out and you're staying in the exact same place. Because these days, there is absolutely nothing more common than a hardworking, unsuccessful person. I know people that get up and hit it hard all day long, from the moment their eyeballs open until they close. Then they go to bed at night and wonder, what exactly did I achieve? These are the people who confuse busyness with significance and motion with meaning. And they do this because they don't plan their days out. Successful people methodically attack their days. They go to bed at night knowing what they're going to work on the next day, because there's studies out of San Diego School of Medicine that talks about our subconscious mind goes to work while we're asleep, helping us come up with solutions to problems that we have. One of the keys to my success is mapping out exactly what I need to do. A question I ask myself sometimes is, what's the most important thing I could be doing right now? I'll ask it to myself several times during the day. And it will be very rare that I won't have a place where I can go look to find a plan or a strategy. The last week, putting this event together, getting all y'all to show up here and baffle you with my F exercise, this is my plan that I wrote out that you'll see dates. Because the difference between a dream, a desire, and a goal is it's time tested. If I just said, I'm going to send an email out when I get time, things come up. None of us have extra time. So it has to be a time tested. And I highly recommend, on the back of your handout you have in front of you, there's something called resources. Mindmeister.com. It'll give you 3 free plans. Go in there, figure out what it's going to take to get you to where you're trying to go, and map out a plan. Map out a strategy. Next, in the back of your resources, it also says, I use a passion planner. Right here. I'm well versed in technology. However, I like to write it down the old-fashioned way, track it and follow it. Because you know why a lot of people don't succeed in life? They spend major time on minor things. And that's really important so you can track what you're spending your time on. And you're going to have to time block time to work on your goals. Don't answer this question, but think about it. How many people in here today spend time working on their goals? Spend time working on their goals. That's very, very important. You have a determined plan and you're working on a direction you're going. Otherwise, you're wearing yourself out and you're not getting anywhere. I love this quote by Winston Churchill. He says, however beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the results. This is where you pivot. This is where you look at your plan and say, am I getting the results that I'm after? Because we've all made our plans. And a lot of people say, I don't plan because it never works. And I'm here to tell you, I teach, plans don't always work. However, planning does. And when you're trying to get from point A to point B, in our mind, we see it as a straight line. Nothing can be further from the truth. And the bigger the goal you're going after, the bigger the obstacles you're going to have to overcome. And those obstacles aren't there to keep you out. They're there to see how bad you want it. And that's important. Something that's important when it comes also to achieving goals is you need accountability partners. You need people to make you do the things that you don't want to do. And I believe Colton's going to discuss that in a little bit, something called a WHAM, a weekly accountability meeting. And it's definitely a secret when it comes to succeeding in life, is finding people to help hold you accountable. Because these days, we are addicted to distractions. Social media, email, text messaging. And there's a study out of Michigan that says it takes us 13 to 19 minutes to get back on track after we get distracted. Get distracted 6 times during the day, you lose 2 hours. You don't have 2 hours. So that's 10 hours in a week, and it continues to compound and build. Focus is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more you discipline yourself, the stronger it will get. The less you use it, the weaker it will get. And I like to tell people, when you can control what you're spending your attention on, you can control your life. There's a quote that I saw not long ago that we're prisoners to our cell phones. Make sense? I tell people, one of the secret ingredients to succeeding in life, if you consistently have done something and not gotten the results you're after, you hire a coach. You find a mentor. And there's 3 things I say coaches do for people. Coaches have conversations with you that you don't want to have, but you need to. And coaches do make you do things that you may not want to do, but you need to. And a coach helps you become something you didn't think you could become. Coaching 101. Sit down with your client and extract what their unique gift is. Because every one of you has something unique that you're supposed to bring to this world. And a coach's job is to help you find that, develop that, and then display it. And the way coaches do it is we help you find direction. We outline the steps it's going to take you to get from where you are to where you're trying to go. Because too often there's people in life that are wandering generalists, is what I say. And Alice, from the movie Alice in Wonderland, is a beautiful example. Watch this.
Now let's see. Where was I? I wonder which way I ought to go. You want to get to... Well, it really doesn't matter. As long
Doesn't matter which way you go if you don't know where you're going. If you shoot for nothing, you'll hit every time. One of the mistakes people make when it comes to setting goals is they look at them as these daunting, complicated tasks. But if you will break them down into bite-sized pieces and not get overwhelmed when you understand how much work it's going to take you to get to where you're trying to go. Because with all of goals, I tell people, by the yard, goals are hard. But by the inch, your goals are a cinch. Thank you.